Ground Zero in New York. And I remember standing there the next day and looking at the building. I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell. It looked so devastating.
President Joe Biden is dealing with intense backlash after he made some statements to commemorate the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. Now, he is the first sitting president who did not visit New York on the 9/11 memorial, and he decided to give a speech from Alaska instead. Now, what he said during that speech is what is leading to a lot of backlash. Let me give you his statement and then I'll explain. He said, Ground Zero in New York. I remember standing there the next day after the attack and looking at the building. I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell. It looked so devastating, Biden claimed during the speech. However, many social media users, including the Republican National Committee, were quick to point out that Biden was actually in Washington, D.C. the day after 9/11. He was not in New York. In fact, he did not visit New York until about a week later. So these kinds of errors are pretty common with Joe Biden. Some are saying that this is the worst example yet. One of the other examples is he noted that his son, Beau, died while he was serving in the military. That was not the case. He also made some statement about fighting alongside Mandela.
I have that.
Go ahead.
Okay, so guys, this is a terrible, I don't know whether to call it a lie or a mistake, but Biden has an enormous history of hyperbole and oftentimes outright fabrication. So the media tracked Donald Trump's lies, and they should have, and they were legendary. But Joe Biden has a pretty rich history of lies himself. And so saying you were there on 9/11, you don't think people were gonna look that up? All right, let me give you the South Africa one. He said, this day 30 years ago, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison and entered into discussions about apartheid. I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto, trying to get to see him on Robben's Island. That did not happen. He just made that up. Okay, so like when I mentioned that during the primaries in 2020, the mainstream media basically ripped our heads off. And Democrats ripped our heads off, everybody did. You can't talk about how Joe Biden lies like that. Why aren't you guys talking about it? It is awfully relevant, right? No, because he was running against Bernie Sanders and they couldn't imagine Bernie Sanders winning. So now, you're still gonna prop this guy up, tyt.com/dropout. He's gotta drop out. He's gotta drop out. If it's the most, you can't say it's the most important election of our lifetimes and Joe Biden should be our candidate. Those two things do not make logical sense. He's in the 30s in polling. He's 15 points lower than he was, and he makes up outrageous lies like this.
Yeah, and I mean, the dogpiling on social media is currently taking place, and look, if it had happened once, you could maybe make the argument that he misspoke, that he meant to say, when I was there a week later, I saw what it looked like at Ground Zero, it was devastating. But he misspoke. Sometimes when you're speaking off the cuff, that happens. But this is yet another example in a long history of weird lies that unsurprisingly really make him the hero of the story. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mandela story or the Mandela lie is an example, or it embellishes the situation with half-truths or just flat out lies that make him a more sympathetic figure. It's just bad all around, and look, whether he's lying or whether it's an issue with his memory, both options are terrible. Both possibilities are terrible.
Exactly, and he gives, whenever he does these lies, he bothers to make up a lot of details.
Yeah, I know.
Like I was looking at the gates of hell. No, you weren't even there. How do you think you're not gonna get caught on that? There's only two options. One is, a little like Trump, you're a pathological liar and you just cannot help yourself. The other option is, you've forgotten everything. Neither one of those options plays well. Get out of the race. Guys, it's incredibly selfish for him to say, this is the most important race. We could lose democracy if we don't win this race. And even though I'm in this state, which you can all see with your own eyes, and I'm deeply unpopular, I'm gonna run because it's my ego that's on the line. I wanna be a 2-term president and not a 1-term president. Well, even if he said, hey, listen, I'm dying to run to get you some policies, I could say, hey, brother, I don't think you're the right guy for it, but at least he's fighting the right day. He hasn't named a single policy he's gonna run on. He doesn't care about the policy, he cares about his ego. Well, I'm saying it. I'm saying tyt.com/dropout. We'll have the link in the description box. Get it to 1 million. Get him to drop out. I'm not running. No way. No way. This is a disaster. I'm not signing on to a disaster. No. You guys are, if you're in the establishment media, establishment politicians, you're all wrong. If you're progressives in Washington backing this guy, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. He's headed to a certain defeat. Certain defeat.
The other thing I'm genuinely concerned about with Biden is you're right in that he hasn't really highlighted why he wants to run again. Like, what would he want to accomplish? It's more about, no, I just want to run again. I want to be a 2-term president.
Selfish.
Yeah, yes, there is a selfish element of that. But what is he planning on running on? A big part of his campaign is going to be, you have to vote for me because Donald Trump is a fascist, he's a threat to our democracy. It's harder to make that argument when the vast majority of Democratic voters in poll after poll want someone else in the race. That goes against the will of the voters, which sounds pretty undemocratic. And after you said you were only gonna run for 1 term. Remember?
Yeah, and by the way, he lied about that too. He said, I'm only gonna run for 1 term. Where is it? No, ego. It's all about his ego. I understand why he wants to do it. I understand why the kiss asses in Washington love sucking up the power and why they want to do it. What's our excuse? What's the excuse of everyone who should be in this race and isn't? What? Because we don't want to disrespect the powerful? Joe Biden has a lot of power, so we should all obey him? No, we should not obey him. I'm not supporting a guy who lies like this. I'm not gonna do it. tyt.com/dropout. Get out of the goddamn race. If you're in this race, you're saying there's not a single Democrat that could win this race that isn't Joe Biden, meaning I think our party's pathetic. Donald Trump's a maniac, a lunatic, but no one in the Democratic Party can beat him. That is an outrageous statement, and that is a statement against the Democratic Party. Or you're saying, I don't care about anything, I love my ego. I'm the most selfish man in America. That's what Joe Biden's saying right now. tyt.com/dropout. We'll see you in the postgame.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.